Now let's see what the hell is going on with this market. Looks like gold is holding up, silver's going down, platinum's going down, and palladium's going down. How interesting. Actually, it shows platinum and palladium are actually up, even though they're down. And it shows that the change in silver is $1.37 or 1.37%, excuse me, down 37 cents. Gold's only down 0.33%. Not big of a deal there. What's up, Kevin? Just going over some stuff here. Oh, shit. Lost it. Hold on, wait. Obviously, the market prices, and they kind of suck. But actually, they're good for buying, quite honest with you. Platinum. I mean, if you can get platinum with premium, you're talking maybe $65 premium. You're looking at under $1,000 for an ounce of platinum. It costs $1,300 to get in your hands. So you already made $300 just by buying it. It doesn't even have to go up. It goes up, goes down, doesn't matter. You've made money if you bought it under $1,300 because that's what it cost to get it out of the ground, put it in coin form, and put it in your hand. Gold's only at like $900 to get it out of the ground and put it in your hand, so they're making a good profit. Silver, they're actually making a good profit. Palladium, totally don't know about, so I can't comment on that one. But that is what is going on in those markets. Now, what I want to check out here is see what's happened with this bad boy here. Let me share screens with y'all. Make sure present, share screen. Oh, stop screen, wrong one. Let's see here. Present, share screen. That one there, share it. All right, now what we're looking at here, obviously, is the BTC from beginning chart to end chart. Now, if you look, I don't know if you can follow my cursor along here. Let me put this on. Oh, no, let me put it back on full screen. I had it on full screen. What's up? Yeah, I would too, Kevin. It's a good deal. Now, what I want to show here, and I don't know if I'll be able to articulate it, but here's one halving, two halvings, three halvings, about 4 years apart. If you look at how this one went up, came down, got a little bump, came down, magnify that by 10 times, it looks like this one with the go up right there, you come back down. The rebound wasn't as good, but following that, you got a small rebound right there, and then that little bump, which is that little bump right there. And then it kind of follows through down to here. A little elongated. The times aren't exactly the same. Oh no, it will go up. That's what I'm trying to explain. And then it goes to this cycle here, which is a smaller cycle. And then it goes to this cycle, which repeats almost, like I said, almost exactly that cycle, except for this part of it right here was the second bump. I think that was the Michael Saylors of the world shilling it and getting retail into it, and that's what gave that second bump. Then it came back down again. If you follow this and you follow this, if you magnify this part right here and elongate it, it looks like this part right here. So what I'm projecting is it'll drop down from where it's at. It'll probably go down to about 40K ish, and then it'll do a pop up again with a secondary buy-in market with the Trump. What's up, Gerald? With the Trump pushing BTC and stuff. And so I think this first up, wherever it went to, 67. Oh, shit. So you can't see. Okay, hold on a second here. Here, can you see this one? Now I got to go back to. Did you see that? I hate how this works. Anyhow, if you can see this one, you'll see that this bump up right here where my cursor's at and this bump up here are the exact same. This little bitty bump here was without the Michael Saylors kicking in. That was the secondary bump in BTC. This is what I call the secondary bump in BTC of the last halving because of all the push of all the billionaires buying. And if you look and just magnify from like 2017 to 2019, and then you'll get to about a 2020 to a 2021 2. And then what I'm saying is it repeats very, very similar, not exactly the same. And right now, this little bit right here that we're at between what the last halving would be December 2020 through June 2021 is what we're going through now. But it started in January. Well, actually, no, actually it started in probably October, September. And if you look, see August. And if you look back here, April, May, June, July, see last time it was about the same. It was at a high going down into September, but in August 20th, 21, it got a bump back up, like it got its bump back up from June 2028 to July. It got a bump up, and then it started going back down, which is this part right here, or excuse me, this part right here, and then it's going to go back up again. So if you look at it like this, it'll be about 10% higher than, so let's see, I project it probably be about, it'll jump up to about 80,000 and then it'll retrace back down. That's my projecting for BTC. I could be wrong. You're more than welcome to come up on the panel and tell me I'm wrong. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Let's see who I missed. Gerald, Zir, JM, Gerald, JM, Gerald. Yeah, I think the difference, a difference in BTC this time is we don't have the billionaires pumping it because they don't have the money to pump it. And the reason why they're not pumping it is because there was a financial ruling placed on BTC, a regulatory ruling that states that it cannot be leveraged like a tier 1 asset or a financial asset. And when Michael Saylor was doing it on the last cycle, the last halving, he was able to leverage it. That's why he was not selling. He was getting as much cash as he could out of his company, Microsystems or whatever it was, or is whatever. And he was buying BTC, and then he was leveraging that BTC to buy 10 more BTC, thus increasing his holdings more than the cash that he had. That is not allowed to be done on this halving. So you will not see that increase in money. I believe that's why Trump is pushing it to get retail into it. And that'll be a pump. We'll see how big it goes. I'm projecting around 80 to 85,000, but we shall see. But those are my projections on the crypto. I have been out, disclaimer, I've been out of the crypto world for about 3.5 years. So might not be totally hip on what's going on. In the crypto scene, but pretty much I think I am, because last halving there was 9,300 crypto. After the halving there was 300 because 9,000 of them were actually Ponzi schemes. This time around, if you look at it, yeah, MicroStrategies, thank you, Gerald. This time if you look at it, there's 10,300 cryptos, and after the halving there's probably going to be down to 300. So choose wisely. I understand there's going to be a new crypto out backed by crystallized osmium. I personally believe that crypto will not be one that goes away, because it'll actually have a use case being backed by something solid, which most of the 10,000 that will go away after the halving don't have. That's why I call most of the crypto market a Ponzi market, because it kind of sort of is. And that deters a lot of investors right off the bat. It gets in a lot of people too, because they think they can make $1 million. And that's the allure of it. But there are good, solid tokens or coins or companies in the crypto world. For example, 4 years ago, ADA Cardano signed a contract with the Ethiopian government to track their education system and the students in the education system for a future use case of being able to give them loans based off of their educational prowess or how far they went or how good they're trying to come up with a system to where how good you do in school is a future forecast of how good you'll do economically in life. And they're looking at the possibility of creating a loan system based off of that. And that is the premise of ADA Cardano. So if you know about the company and what they're doing, that is what they're doing. They're looking to actually become a bank so that in a few years, 8 to 10 years, when these students start turning out in Ethiopia, they can give them loans based off of their educational credit score, basically, for lack of a better word. And then, hey, what's up, Chad? Wolfenstein Hausenbergerdorf. Sorry about that, sir. So they're looking to build up money using this crypto coin of ADA, build up a bank to where they can become a bank and actually loan money to students in Ethiopia that have been in their crypto system doing a credit score off of education is the premise of what they're doing. XLM and Algo and I believe one other grant, not 100% sure on that. I do know XLM and Algo 5 to 5.5 years ago signed a contract with the Department of the Treasury to create a digital Fed coin type thing. So, and that also adds into my queries of crypto as a cryptocurrency. Yeah, Stellar Jeweler. Because when you have, when one of these quote unquote cryptos has a contract with the government, it technically is no longer a crypto. It should be listed on Wall Street because it's now regulated and centralized, not decentralized and unregulated, which crypto is. So that's a misnomenclature in the selling of the crypto market. One of many that I have lots of reservations because of the way the market is considering what is crypto, what they allow to stay in there. And it's just, there's a lot of things about the market. There are, back to my point, there are good cryptocurrency projects. There are good ones, but there's less actually solid ones. I'd say there's probably 30 to 40 of the 10,300 cryptocurrencies out there. And you really have to do your research to find out. I mean, it took me a year and a half to get all the information I just gave you guys in 10 minutes on ADA and what they were doing, because I had to find out through Ethiopia, contracts signed with their Department of Education, exactly what they were doing, and stuff like that. So again, there are excellent crypto coins that will not go away. They've got actual use cases backed by actual things. That's where this new crypto coin, I believe Gerald's going to be bringing up or introducing to the cryptocurrency market, will be one that makes it through, because kind of sort of for the meaninglessness of it, it has my stamp of approval, because I disapprove of 10,260 of the crypto that are out there on the crypto exchanges now, for a variety of different reasons. Some of them multiple reasons to one coin, some of them not. But that's only because I was heavy into the crypto scene before last halving, and I learned a lot, and I just saw a lot, and I looked at it from a perspective, as I do with everything, which most people don't look at it from. So see, now there's another Reggie Middleton. That's yes, Solano is Kevin. Reggie Middleton, that right there, that I think is the rug pull, Gerald, for a lot of things. How the rug gets pulled is dependent. He's most likely, because of the allowance of it to continue, he has slowed his lawsuit against all the cryptocurrencies for his patents on it to see what the end game is, and then grab a piece of the end game, which is actually a smarter thing to do. Because right now what's happening is it's like a cleansing of the cryptocurrency coins. Every halving it is the same way, but eventually that'll stop, and you'll only have your basic 30 to 50 to 60 cryptos that have use case, utilitarian, backed by something that are real, which again, back to Gerald, he is going to be having a cryptocurrency introduced that is one of those, and that's why I already back it, because it meets my criteria for an investable crypto. And Solana's one, XLM, XRP, Algo, Grant, Litecoin, Ethereum. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any others. It's been a while since I've been in the market. But if they're all still there, that just guarantees you. I just named off, without being in the market for 3.5 years, I just named off ones of the 9,300 of 9,000 that failed last halving. I just shot off names, not seeing the market for 3.5 years of cryptocurrencies that are still there, proving I know what I'm talking about. I didn't read off, what was that, Red Dragon? It went out 2 cycles ago. It was a pump and dump coin. Yeah, exactly, Gerald. And there are tons. And because of greed and the way we look at economics, that is what's actually causing the biggest problem with the acceptance of cryptocurrency. The greed available out there without regulation to stop it, and the Ponzi's and everything, and the quick bucks and the meme coins. I mean, I really got out of it. Last halving, I had an opportunity to have someone produce a Neil coin. I didn't even, hey, what's up, Dargos? I didn't even know what it would be backed by. So how could I ever? I mean, it just showed to me that there are crap coins out there, and you really got to do due diligence. And quite frankly, 95 to 97% of those coins out there, of the 10,300 that out there now, are crap coins. So at least hook up with people who've been in the industry for a long time of the crypto industry, at least one halving other than this one. The more halvings they've been around for, the more you can rely. Now, here's another thing. Bitcoin, a buddy of mine, his ex-wife was across the street, 2012 or something, when Bitcoin was $18 a coin or whatever. He bought a couple hundred of them because he was dealing with the Russian mafia in San Francisco, buying information because of whatever business he was doing at the time, off books business. And I'm not going to say more than that. But what he does after he finishes a deal, he takes all this electronic stuff, turns them off, and stores them. And then he goes and does another deal, and he does the same thing. And like 10 years after that, his daughter, BTC was up to about 45 at the time. His daughter came up and said, "Hey, Dad, didn't you buy some of this stuff when you were dealing with the Russians?" He's like, "Yeah," but he didn't remember the code to his phone. So he had to give a guy 4 Bitcoin, but he anyhow to access his phone because he forgot his password, and he had 40 Bitcoin. Yeah, he had bought at $18. And of course, had to give 4 away to the guy who cracked the code on his phone so he could get into it. And he sold 36 Bitcoin at $40,000. So is there money to be made in it? Yes. But the fact is, back then, Bitcoin was not seen as a money asset. It keeps changing the definition of what it is. Back then, it was an untraceable money system, and that's why the Russian mafia was using it here in America, because no one could track them. That's not a good currency. That's why that is actually, in reality, the reason why they want to get rid of cash is because it's untraceable. It's kind of sort of traceable, but it's harder than instant crypto tracing. But anyhow, hey, what's up, Tom? There's a lot going on with the crypto. Just be careful, buyer beware, do due diligence. And actually, the best thing you can do, whatever crypto you're interested in, go back 4 years. If it was around back then, you stand a good chance of making a decent call. All the cryptos will go up. All the altcoins will go up with BTC right after BTC. BTC runs first, then all the altcoins run after it. So when you see BTC run, if you don't have any BTC, what you want to do is you want to grab yourself some altcoins that were around last halving, because that way you're not going to do a pump. You get involved with a pump and dump, and you be involved with the dump part of that pump. So that's how you instantaneously can determine if the crypto you're investing in will be around after the halving. And you also must remember, look at the chart from the last halvings, see if you can actually see a pattern of ups and downs, and don't be scared to sell early, because you don't make a profit if you don't sell. Selling is where you make the profit. These crypto people, another thing I disagree with, they say hold. No, don't hold. Don't hold at all. If you buy at 40 and it goes up to 80, sell, because it's going to drop back down to 60 and you'll have made $20,000. You can pull off the side and still buy a full BTC. Why leave it in there? Why leave any asset alone as it's on a downward swing? That's not, in my estimation, a good call. Economics, investing, unless it's for generational wealth. And you cannot say BTC is for generational wealth because you don't know if it's going to be around for generations. It hasn't been around but 15 years. So it's as new as the suppression of platinum price. So things can change. So you don't want to, it's not inheritable. You want to, what's up, oh? You want to make your money off of it. Like, this is where Kevin, here you go. This is where I 100% agree with Ninja. Sell it, make your money, transfer it into another asset class that's going to go up or be more solid in a downturn. And that's how you can make money on a downturn. You see, it's not just buying puts on the stock market or shorting companies. It's changing asset classes when you sell and get your profit margin. A strategy would be, say, for example, you can afford a full BTC. You bought it at 60. It's going to probably run up to 80-ish. You sell it. It goes down. It's going to drop down to about 40-ish. You buy 1.5 to where you got 60 back into it. You have that 20 profit. So now you have, you've added 50% to your Bitcoin when it's on a lower purchasing scale on the other end of the halving, on the downhill part of the halving. You still have 20,000 profit to transfer. And you know how much? That'll get you 21 kilos of silver at today's price. So why would you keep it stored in crypto when you can already add 50% to your crypto holdings following this strategy and have enough to buy 21 kilos of silver? You cannot do that if you don't sell. And you still have the BTC because you buy it back when it drops. It's going to drop. If you look again at the charts of BTC, it drops. It lasts for three halvings. It averaged 90% retrace from its high, meaning if it went up to 10,000 after it hit its high, it would drop back to 1,000, hang there till the next halving. That number always goes up because in the halving, between the halvings, it does actually go, like say it dropped down to 1,000, it'd probably be up to about 1,500 to 2,000 to the next halving. Then it would jump up to 20, 30,000. Then it would drop back down. As of last halving, it only fell 70%. So I'm anticipating this time it only dropping about 50%. What that means is a longer term look at the cryptocurrency market means it's stabling out. It's not as volatile because of its time in service. Its acceptance is being accepted more. And of course, if it stables out in price and doesn't have such volatile action, more people will be interested in it. It'll be taken more seriously as an alternative currency or transfer of wealth from in exchanges type thing. You know, oh, I'm going to buy an island. Let's do it with Bitcoin. Throw your money into Bitcoin, buy the island kind of thing. But the fact that it's not being as volatile after the halving shows in a long-term aspect, looking at charts, knowing about economics, it's showing an acceptance, and it won't go away unless there's a rug pull, which there could be a rug pull. But that's just for BTC. The cryptocurrency itself, that technology is going to be around. It's being used right now. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's still in its infancy. It's going to be volatile, and it's getting less volatile after every halving. And that's why I say this halving, whatever the high is, anticipate only a 50% correction downward after the halving, and consider that to be a buyback in time after selling. Yeah, Tom, that's a good way to look at it. It's basically you're going to double. You're almost guaranteed to double your money at least if you sell and buy low and go through the halving, sell it towards the top, not at the top, but as it's even going up, sell. You're almost guaranteed to have 100% profit margin. Then you wait. You follow my strategy of the retrace of approximately 50%. So if it goes up to 80, it'll drop back down to 40. That's where if you sold it at 80, it goes back to 40. You buy 1.5. So that way on the next halving, you have 50% more without any of your cash going into it. And you still have 20,000 cash that you can buy your 21 kilos of silver with, or whatever other asset class you see that's going up. And you still have the security of whatever your cryptocurrency is. In this case, this theoretical case, we're using Bitcoin. But that is what the base premise of my knowledge on the cryptocurrency market. And trust me, I do have extensive knowledge in it. As much knowledge as I have about platinum and crystallized osmium. At one point in time, a little over 4 years ago, I had that much knowledge at the time crypto world. I had people, I was the number one moderator on the channel, had 80,000 subscribers, and they called me the GOAT because I came to them with information. I discovered the ADA signed a contract with the Ethiopian government. I discovered these other ADA or XLM and Algo had signed contracts with the Department of Treasury. And I brought that information to light when I was in that world, because I was, and what got me out of that world is that world led me into silver, because every part of my research also told me that the thought premise of that everyone was using, if applied equally to all asset classes, silver was a better deal. And I saw that 4 years ago. And that was by analytically looking at the crypto. What's up, ATM? Analytically looking at the crypto market, just from a logical standpoint, based off of figures and certain parameters, and apply those same criteria equally to other asset classes. And it should, if you are looking at and analyzing everything properly, you should be able to do that. That's how you can determine if you're looking at it logically or not, or have a credible way of viewing it, more proper than improper. So if you can do that, then you're good to go, and you have a better understanding of what it is when, and you also have a better understanding of your in and out. Never buy and hold when it comes to any asset class that you do not hold at your house. So I look at crypto, I look at stock 180 degrees differently than I look at physical assets. Having said that, that same thought process tells me that if a crypto is backed by a physical asset, I look at it more seriously than other cryptos. And that leads me back to backing hopefully cryptocurrency that Gerald will be bringing out hopefully here shortly. Because anything backed by a solid asset, I mean, it's backed by a solid asset. You just look at the contracts on how it's backed, how much percentage wise, and then you come up with your deductions on, how much you want to invest in it. But if it's backed by something solid, it's solid. It's not backed by air or faith and confidence. Well, even though that works, you look at the US dollar. US dollar and BTC are exactly the same. They are both backed by faith and confidence. And my analytical way of looking at things looks at it that way. So that way I poke holes in things that other people don't see holes to be poked in. Because I apply the same criteria equally across the board to find legitimate holes in thought processes for different asset classes. And it's just a different way of looking at it. Is it always works? Yeah. I haven't always used it, so I don't know. Okay, William, I'm going to dedicate a couple seconds here. I'm going to go on a little rant. Here. Okay. What are my thoughts on BRICS gold standards? Okay. First off, what the fuck is that? The BRICS is to replace the SWIFT system. To understand that, you got to understand what the SWIFT system is. The SWIFT system is a digital transfer asset thing, not backed by nothing. All the BRICS countries that are going into BRICS want to get away from that system. So all they have to do is they don't have to risk any of their gold. They don't have to tie any of their gold up at all. And actually, it would be stupid for them to do that. And seeing how they're mostly totalitarian and dictator governments, I could see where greed would prevent them from even thinking about that. But having said that, they don't need to back it by anything. All they need to do is be on the same page of exchanges. In other words, they take the SWIFT system that they liked until we weaponized it, create a system exactly like it, use the same game plan, but they control it so they can't be hit with sanctions because we control SWIFT. They'll control the BRICS thing. It does not need to be backed by gold. I don't even see why people think it needs to be backed by gold, because the SWIFT system isn't backed by gold. It's just a digital transfer exchange system. And it just so happens the SWIFT system is controlled by America. We have controls we put in rules and regulations and sanctions we put on other countries using our SWIFT system, which is a digital transfer system, which is backed by air. It's just a trusted system up until now. Now countries want to break away and start their own system. It's going to be an exact same system because that's the cheapest system. You're creating a new system out of thin air and it doesn't cost you anything. If you have to back it with gold, now these countries have to take their assets and that's not what they want to do. They just want to get away from SWIFT and still be able to do transactions like they had been on SWIFT without having to face a recourse for America not liking it. That's all the BRICS is doing. That's the bottom line. That's all they are doing. They are not coming up with a country and a dollar bill of their own called the BRICS dollar bill that all of them that's infeasible as hell and wasn't even that's smoke and mirrors bull crap to keep you off track. Russia has already worked for the past almost 4 years with the World Central Bank and the World Economic Forum to digitize their whole economy. They are part of BRICS. They are a leading part of BRICS. So if they are going to digitize their whole economy, where's gold-backed anything have to do with that? All they need at that point in time is an exchange system, just like the SWIFT, but not controlled by America. And they don't have to throw any gold behind it. So they can keep their gold and leverage it in other ways. It's a win-win-win-win-win for them if they don't use gold. If they don't use nothing, if they just copy the SWIFT system and don't let America control it, and everyone in BRICS will be happy. Because we won't be able to put restrictions on them because they're not using our SWIFT system. They're using their quote-unquote SWIFT system. And if our SWIFT system's not backed by anything, why should theirs? Everyone's joining them for the free exchange devoid of American control of the SWIFT system. Why would they back it with gold? All they need to do is get into something exactly like SWIFT that's not controlled by America. Now, I need to get back, okay, and hide that and see who's been talking since then. Sorry for that elongated explanation. Pay in their own currency. Yeah, it allows more free exchange between the BRICS countries and a digital system to do cross-country transactions without any restrictions from the American government. No reason to be backed by gold. Yeah, that one is a slippery slope, Gerald. Yes, you can. And let's see, going down, type of appears, it's okay. Yes, 100%. No, and that's not the way for us to get out of debt, actually. That gives us a pathway to get out of debt because it controls the absurdness of endless spending with fake money creation. So it forces a balanced budget. It forces compliance with laws and stuff like that they're not following now. It's a way to keep the politicians from lying to us and making fake numbers like they're doing now. That's how the gold back does. And then after that happens, we have to pay off the debt, or something will happen. Yeah, I guess I don't know. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all that stuff. But I can guarantee you, BRICS transaction of country to country exchange is not going to be backed by anything. It's just going to be probably Russian controlled computer systems of international exchange devoid of countries that are not in BRICS. And quite frankly, that's why everyone wants to be part of it, because that way I believe they think that America's not going to be able to purchase. But see, there's another falsehood. America's still going to be able to purchase from the BRICS countries. They're just going to have to use our system because we are still a consumer. And in the next couple of years, we're going to be a producer, creator, and innovator. So they will have no choice but to deal with us. And that's what people aren't talking about. And that's why I say the dollar, no matter what form it'll take, will still be a reserve currency, because people are still going to want what we make, and they're still going to want our money to buy their shit. They are not going to cut us out. Trust me. That's more of a realistic way of looking at what's going to happen. Well, you know, JM, HR 8421 abolishes or ends the Fed and abolishes the Federal Act 1913 Fed Act that created them. If that is done, that entity no longer exists. Therefore, all its debt should go away as well. I am not a lawyer. I don't know the legalities. I guarantee you it's a lot more to it than that. But that sounds like a logical way to get rid of a debt. Now, we don't need to audit them. We just need to abolish them. Because like I said, I believe the debt will go away with that company, because it's that company that issued the debt. Might be to the Treasury, but if the Treasury changes money systems, then that debt gets wiped out through the exchange of money system, because we come to agreements with everyone that we deal with on the exchange of the new money system. And actually, if there are a lot of people are in BRICS, we have less people to deal with on that. So it'd be easier to create a new money system. And then it would be forced on everyone for the exact same reason I just told you. They will want to sell to us because we buy everything. And here in the next couple of years, we're going to be, well, even now, we create things that people want to buy. Our military tech, our actually our tech, you know, computer tech. I mean, we are exporting stuff left, right, and center to BRICS nations. So the BRICS ain't going to stop nothing. It's just taking a barrier away of free exchange of countries that have restrictions set on now using the SWIFT system. That's all BRICS is, simply. And like I said, with them using that system, we could easily wipe out a lot of our debt, because we'll tell them, hey, you know, forgive the debt because the Fed's gone and it was a company, and according to our laws, we no longer owe you, but we will allow you to charge us an extra 5% for your merchandise to make up the loss, or something like that will happen. You know, they'll get a percentage of their money through other means and ways, most likely through increased pricing. But if you wipe out the debt, or a majority of the debt, and you still have a tax revenue, and then you cut the size of the government and get rid of pork barrel spending and get an actual balanced budget, because you now have a monetary system based off of a commodity as gold, silver, oil, wheat, whatever, a commodity, it's real. You have a less likelihood of a corrupt system of spending, which we have now. So if we were to clean up the corrupt spending in that monetary change up, which should be easier now that a lot of countries are joining BRICS, we could actually clean our house up a lot easier than people think. Yeah, if you sign your name to debt, but it's the Federal Reserve Corporation that signed their name to a debt and made a contract with the Treasury. See, that's the basis of it being their debt. And when you go into bankruptcy or to abolish a corporation, it goes into a bankruptcy and a flash sale, basically, of all assets, and then debt's wiped out. That's how it works in bankruptcy court. And if you extinguish or deconstruct a corporation such as the Fed, that's how it would work, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of big money guys that'll, you know, pull strings and make it not that way exactly, but that's theoretically, that's how it works. And see, all this talk we're talking about, it should actually encourage people, because there's going to be so many ways to make money coming up. I don't know how they are, but if everything's changing, everything's changing. That means unless you're already in the know, and there are people in the know, and I'm sure they're going to fill the bigger slots of new companies and whatever that's out there for financial gain. But there's going to be so much left over for those that are willing to take that opportunity. Yeah, and that's where I say, Thomas, if all these countries join BRICS, then just like we fudge numbers, they can be fudged a lot, and a lot of cuts can be made, and a lot of in the cuts being made. Imagine this. Okay, let me explain like this. Okay, say we give $7 billion a year to a country and we owe them 150 or 1 trillion, and we give them like 7 billion a year because they can't live without that 7 billion. What do you think they're going to do? You see what I'm saying? It's cool to owe people if you have them over the fire. That's another way to look at it. And right now, everyone's debt America's indebted to is over a fire. So they're negotiating in price of payoff of debt. Their leverage to get it paid off is lessened, shall we say. There's another thing. If you get rid of the Department of Education, they can audit all the old banks and they can find out how much fraud was in there. And then what they can do is they can start going after the schools that took that money and all these big colleges that take this money. And then when they do that, they audit the big schools that made all this money off of all these student loans. They find out who they sent money to in Washington to get things changed their direction. And we can clean up the college corruption. So there's good to be had there. It's good. Oh, hang on, strap up, make sure your seatbelts are on tight. It's going to be an interesting ride. What's up, bro? Yeah, that's what I say. Strap on your seatbelt. You don't want to get thrown out of the car as this thing goes, because you'll be able to stick your net out the window and collect all that money and all that coinage. It's going to be fun. You start collecting. It's going to be a great wealth transfer coming up. That's going to change your JM, in my opinion. Although I can say one thing that the government has perfected is kicking the can down the road. But if you look at the world scenario right now with everything going on, there are certain times in history when it's the best time for certain things to happen, and then there's times in histories where it's not so good a time for certain things to happen. Having said that, it looks like we're coming up to a time in history where it looks like it's a good time for certain things to happen without making any predictions. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be free handouts. And this is why I say be kind, helpful, and grateful. I even actually, Kevin, you'll be interested in this one. The Economic Ninja took a saying of mine and now he's using it. I'm so grateful that he is. I don't need credit for it. I know I'm the first one to say it because I did a video on it. And it is 75% of the people were working during the Great Depression. Why the hell were there so many starving? Because Americans were not kind, helpful, and grateful. Those 75% that were working, that had houses and had food, could have easily given up 15%. And that would have cared for the 25% that weren't working. And we would have gotten out of that depression a hell of a lot faster. It takes what it takes to get out of a depression. Part of that is us being Americans, being kind, being helpful, being grateful. Stock up extra food. Buy a little tent. Do some stuff like what? Put yourself in a position of, oh my God, I just lost my house. I have a family. What would you need? What would you want? And try to do what you can to prepare extra for others in that scenario. Canned food, exactly. That's what I'm doing, man. I got like 2, 4, 6 cases of canned tuna. Last time I ate a can of tuna was like last millennium. Nah, I might have had a couple this millennium, not this year. No, by no means, Tom Larson. That's not what I'm saying. They deserve to lose that car. I'm just saying after the consequences of people's exuberance and the expense they pay for it, that's when they're homeless. Obviously, if you're homeless, Tom, you don't have a car. Well, actually now probably it'll be different. You'll probably be living out of your car until it gets taken too, because you made a foolish decision. And quite frankly, anyone who buys a new car right off the bat, you're a dumbass. And I'm sorry for saying that, but you lose 20% of your cash value of a car, a new car, as soon as you drive it off the lot. What worse liability could you buy than a new car under this economic financing system? So they deserve to lose that shit, because those are stupid moves, Tom. I totally agree. Those are stupid moves, and people need to pay for stupidity. That's what got us here, stupidity. I'm talking about after they pay the price and they're kicked out of their house and they're walking around, don't have a job, don't have food, don't have a place to live. That's the Great Depression. We already lived through it. We could have changed that had just 75% of people that been working just had cans of food to give those people, or a tent, or a place to pop up a tent, on a condition of they'll help take care of part of your farmland if they and shit like that. I know as a Ren Fair, I started a Ren Fair, Mobile Zoo Ren Fair, back in 2001. I worked a deal. When you start a Ren Fair, carnies come. They just come. They build it. They come. There was a group of 4 dropout college kids that had bought a bus and just were doping around America. Got hooked up with Ren Fairs, liked the lifestyle, wanted to live it for a little while. I was able to hook up the Mobile Zoo basically with free labor for 6 months, because the owner of the zoo allowed those guys to park their bus, hook up to water and electricity, and they did chores for 6 months around the zoo to help him out unpaid. That happened. That was in 2001. Okay. You can't tell me that ain't going to happen again, because it happened 23 years ago. I know it happened. I know my buddy Steve owns the Gulf Coast Renaissance Fair. I already know the people that I can get to do this, and anyone can do it. And when people are hurting, more people will go for a deal like that. And if you can just give them a little place to stay, they'll do some work. Now, don't slave labor them. Obviously, that would be cruel and unusual, and you deserve to be punished by God if you do that. But be kind, helpful, and grateful. Because if 50% of people lose their jobs, it'll be up to the other 50% of us to stop that cascading wave of failure that's going to run through our country. And we're going to have to do that in many ways. One of them is we're going to have to be prepared. Another one's we're going to have to be kind, helpful, and grateful, and realize that we have, they don't. And that's when we're going to have to find and tap into your religious side and see what you should do from that basis. And you have to add all that up to be a person. Then you got to think, well, am I an American, and what exactly does that mean? Because it's going to be, it's just like a cleansing, man. If we're going to be having the cleansing, it's going to go down to the roots. You gotta go back to being an American. What's that mean to you? You got to go back to your religious roots. What's that mean to you? How are you going to apply that in a bad scenario? Prepare, so that way in that bad scenario, someone else is in a bad way, you can get some brownie points with whatever religion you are working with, because you helped someone out. You were kind to them. Whatever thought process you have to use, as a country, we can prevent starvation and hunger if we just all be kind, helpful, grateful, and do a little bit of preparation. That's all. And if 20 million people did that, 20 million people wouldn't be as hungry. And if 20 million people are going to lose their jobs, that's worse than the Great Depression. I don't know. Yeah, 1.7. There you go. It's already started, Tom. You don't have to worry about those car payments. Ford's already going to take care of 1.7 million of them before. And now that's what I'm talking about. After they get repoed, they're going to have less chance of getting a job, and they're going to say, woe is me. And they're not going to have positivity in their heart, because they've already gone the wrong way by overextending, by being not grateful, not kind, and not helpful, and being selfish and seeing how things were and not looking around, seeing what's going to happen. Get into a car loan of 5 years. On the second year, shit hits the fan, you're screwed. Looks like it just happened to 1.7 million people. And they're not going to want to change their lifestyles. They're going to go into the woe is me. The government's going to help out and say, oh, we'll give you money, because they're going to want to increase the debt to push a CDBC on us. So being kind, helpful, grateful, helping Americans out will also help stop the push of a CDBC on us. There's so many base core reasons to be kind, helpful, grateful, especially during bad times. Like, be prepared on how we can cash in. Like, what can we do now? Okay, that's a good question. I have several suggestions. I do not have the guaranteed answer. I'm not psycho. I am psycho. I'm not psychic. But what I'd say is learn a valuable skill, one that'll be worthy of someone wanting when there's no cash or when cash is worth nothing and they have to get rid of something that they have to get you to do something for them. Have a skill valuable enough to take a lot from them when they trade whatever it is they have for your skill. That's one thing if you're poor that you can do. If you are not poor, what you can do now is plant fruit nut trees, buy some property and get it going with a natural forest like scenario. Let's see, what else can you do? Start stashing a lot of precious metals, more than you need. So that way in bad times, if you have 10,000 ounces and you're only going to need 9,000 because you don't need to be greedy, as that person comes by who's homeless with his 2 kids and hungry, give them 20 silver pieces and say, hey, don't be stupid. This is your second chance. And if they're stupid after that, it's on them. There's another thing you got to realize as far as religion goes. My religion says at the end times, there's going to be a lot of soulless people. So if there's soulless people, why are you wasting your time? They are actually here doing the devil's work, bringing you down, making you waste your resources on them because they're a lost soul. So you're going to have to be really selective on who you help. How you can do that, back to Chad's question, become community involved now before the shit hits the fan so you can identify who's in your neighborhood, who does good in your neighborhood, who's not a piece of crap that only wants things handed out to them before shit hits the fan. And you can find out things like this just by becoming more knowledgeable about your neighborhood, by being community involved before shit hits the fan. So there's 2 or 3 things right there. I hope that helps, Chad. I can't say it will or won't. Those are just things to think about. Yeah, there's another thing too. Speaking of which, with the 1.7 million repos with just Ford Company, I imagine the repo people are hiring. Or you could actually, if you're industrious, you could start a repo company for a year or 2. You got guaranteed business. It depends on if it's for you or not. But there's an industry that's obviously going to be booming. So there's a plus side financially for investments. Maybe you can invest in increasing the size of someone's repo business for a percentage of the company. I mean, with 1.7 million, you figure 5 car companies, there's at least 7 million cars going to be repossessed. You break that up into 50 states, 50 into 7. Wow, okay, now I'm doing some complicated math. 35,000 cars per state, something like that. So that's unprecedentedly high. So you could get in and back someone in a big repo business if you don't want to do it yourself and still make money in a down economy. Yeah, get out of debt, Gerald. That's a good one. First, try your best now to anyhow make double payments while you can, stuff like that. Pay off your lowest debt or consolidate debts, all of them into one, and then double pay. That actually just consolidate your debts, clean up your credit a little bit, and that actually could help you go for 6 months to a year off of credit. Just because you have better credit could save you from, you could get a second mortgage on your house if you increase your credit by 200 or 300%. And they're like, holy shit, just could pay off some of your debts, could get a loan consolidation, pay it off for 6 months to a year, go for a refinance, even on a higher interest rate. If you go a variable or was it adjustable on a high, still pull the money. Yeah, you're paying, but it's not going to be like that for 30 years. It's only going to be like that for about 2. So you can refinance again and it'll save your ass now and keep your house. It's all in your perception of how you're going to do things. To do that, you got to prepare. You got to think through different scenarios and how you need to be prepared for that scenario or the likelihood of that being a scenario that will affect you. That's another way you can be prepared. Just think things through. Just think them through. If bugging out, is that really a smart move? You're leaving everything for nothing. Is bugging out for you? Probably not. Because can you carry fucking a year's worth of food, 6 months worth of food, plus your PMs and 6 months worth of water? You can do that at your house. You're not going to get rained on. You got walls. You're not going to get skinned up and not have all the first aid equipment that you had at your house because you had to leave it because you bugged out. I mean, Really? There's so many reasons just to make a community and say, hey, pull a Jericho. If y'all ever seen the movie Jericho, the town pulls together and everyone stays put. Pull one of those. That's the best move. Bugging out means you're going to go to one of those places anyhow, which means you should have stayed where you're at, prepared by getting to know your neighbors. Build a small little communal environment for yourself in your neighborhood or in your town or in your city, and act as a community, because communities usually make smarter decisions than individuals, and you'll probably survive better. So you can think these things through in advance. Write down what you would do if this happens. What can I do? What do I need to prepare for? How do I need to prepare if this happens? Set that piece of paper aside. Write down another shit hits the fan scenario. What's this? What's that? How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And then just go through that. And then you look at all the papers that you wrote down for all the different scenarios, find all the commonalities of things you need to do, and start there. Start increasing the fertility of your soil. If you have a house with land, take all your food scraps, take a shovel, go outside, dig a hole, throw your food scraps in it, cover the hole back up. You only need to go about a foot deep, and then do the same thing every time you fill up enough food scraps to do that. Now you're enriching your soil. You know what that does? That saves you money. Because while everyone else is going to try and grow food in Victory Gardens because everyone's poor, doesn't have money, and then they're going to say, hey, can I buy some nitrogen? You'll be like, dude, I don't use nitrogen. I built up my soil. I don't use chemicals. Holy shit, you're ahead of the game. Hey, what's up there, Rand? Now you don't need nitrogen and all these other chemicals in your soil to grow healthy, abundant amount of food in your own backyard or in front yard, because you've built your soil up. You can do that right now. You can go outside today, throw a couple eggs and some sardines in a hole 1 foot thick, boom, 1 foot deep, throw the soil back on top of it. Next time you do it, go 1-2 foot away. You're going to be building up the all the small microbes and bugs and stuff that are needed for a healthy soil ecosystem, along with the micro fungi network and the mycelia network. And you'll find, like right now at Thurand, you'll be very pleased to see I planted, and when I planted about the same time you planted, and in the ground is when I planted mine. How tall are your plants right now, Thurand? Mine are 7.5 foot and about 3.5 foot round. All I do is add water. And I know you planted yours and we're in the same area of California. I'd like to know, without any other information you've given us, just how tall are those plants? And do you use chemicals? Because I use no chemicals. I learned about, I learned about chemicals. I realized chemicals kill the soil, and I want to stay the hell away from them. Then I stumbled across the mushrooms and the mycelia network and the microfungi network that's under the soil, and how you can keep. Well, mine's more contained because I'm in a backyard in a city, so I can't get too big with them. I keep them. I have 5, so I mean that's too many for my backyard in reality. But I'm running low right now, and I didn't want to do like I did last year and grow enough to get me 2 months short of when my crop comes in. That sucks. So I planted extras this year. Yeah, eggshells, Alaskan fish fertilizer, liquid blood meal. Yeah, those are all good things to add. Organic is the way to go. And this will help you out, guys. When you grow things, order now. This is what you can do now. Order Azospirillum and Micros. They're not chemicals. They're fungi attachment systems. You add them as you put some plant in the soil. You put the Azospirillum Micros around the root system, and then you plant it. And what happens is it helps that plant's root system hook up with the existing micro fungi or mycelia network that's already in the ground, which means you'll have a faster adoption for that plant's roots to adopt into the farmer's market of the underground network. And then it starts sharing resources, and you'll find all you have to do is water. You won't need no chemicals whatsoever. And the more you learn about that, you'll find out that different plants are symbiotic. I don't know if you know this, Thurand. I'm sure you probably do. But you want to plant tomatoes and canis lily around your weed plants. For one, it helps deter certain pests because they'll attack the canis lily and the tomato. For two, they're symbiotic with the weed plant or the marijuana plant. What that means is the canis lily absorbs different chemicals out of the air, out of the oxygen, than does the tomato plant and the weed plant. And the same goes for all three. And if they're hooked up to the microfungi network or the mycelial network of the underground soil, living soil network, they can exchange those extra resources they get naturally with other plants that are symbiotic with them. So if one plant has too much nitrogen, the other plant has too much water, they'll exchange nitrogen for water. And so you don't have to buy any nitrogen, and you don't really have to water that much. So if you right now, if you own land, you could start growing your soil to guarantee that when shit hits the fan, you will have a better crop than anyone else out there, and you will not have to have the need for chemicals, which will save you money. So there's some more things you can do. You just got to think through scenarios of what can I do if this happens? What can I do? What should I do? And just put a little forethought into it. And you'll be so much better off. That's basics of, get extra shit. Like if you have a house, buy some freaking roofing tar. Get a 5-gallon bucket of roofing tar. The shit hits the fan and you ain't gonna be able to get shingles. At least you'll have 5 gallons of roofing tar, which means you stop any leaks from the roof, which will preserve all your wealth that you have inside from getting moldy and wet and destroyed. Think through different scenarios. What could you use? But buy some extra 2x4s and stuff and keep it in your shed in case you might have to repair a piece of wood up in your attic or something. You'll have it on hand. Think through scenarios of what could happen. That's things that they don't teach us. That's why if they taught people how to think in school instead of what to think, I would not have to answer any of these questions because everyone would be like, oh yeah, what if this happens? Oh, well, then I do this. Well, what if this? Oh, yeah, I thought of that. So, oh, what if this happens? Oh, well, I thought of that. That's why I have this because I thought of that. Instead of asking, well, what can I do? Everyone should already have a general basic idea of the possibilities. On this planet, we are the smartest creatures on this planet. Act like it. use the thought process that you have. Listen to other people, come on shows, talk, listen, and then develop your plan off of the knowledge you gain. It's all about knowledge. It's like meiosis, splitting a cell. You have a single cell because you just learned some knowledge. Next day you have 2 cells because you doubled your knowledge. Next day you have 4 cells because you doubled your knowledge. Next day you have 8 cells because you doubled your knowledge. And next thing you know, you have a box up of all those cells full of knowledge. You just grow your knowledge daily. Ask questions. Ask what if, or ask compared to. Those 2 questions right there will give you self-enlightenment on so many issues that you come across in life to where you will not have to ask questions. What you'll do is you'll go looking for answers. You won't say, hey, what about this? You'll be like, oh, hey, check this out, man. I checked that out, and this is going to happen if that goes down like that. So you need to think it through. And that's why I'm telling y'all to think scenarios through. Come up with scenarios and then think them through. Because just like in economics, people crap out economic theories. Oh, let's try this. And they sound great. But see, the base premise of economics is a carrot stick. That's economics. If you get the carrot first, the stick's going to hurt worse. So you don't want a system that sounds good now because in the long run, it's probably not going to be good. But because people's short-term thought process and they don't ask questions, they'll look at the numbers, the science, quote unquote, numbers in science, and they'll say, oh, well, it looks good. Let's go with that. And they won't think, well, what happens 20 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line? What's it going to look like then? Because people don't ask questions. So therefore, we don't get enough knowledge before we come up with. Then you get Nancy Pelosi saying, oh, we got to vote it into law before we read the bill. And it happens. Never did I ever anticipate ever hearing some jackass stupid shit like that from a freaking senator. I was like, my jaw dropped. What the fuck part of that is American? Pass the bill, then read it? Oh my fucking God, that was, oh, I shit my pants when she did that. I was like, America's fucked. Our politicians are fucking sold out. But I didn't dwell on it because there's nothing I can do about it. I adjusted, adapted, overcome, came up with strategy and a plan to make money because it seems like in this world we live in, the way to get above the bullshit is to have a lot of money because it pays for a lot of bullshit to go away. or it can pay for you to get away from the bullshit either way. Or if you're smart, it can get you into something that can build you something that will get you away and continuously make you money as you leave. That's what I like. Yeah, there you go, ATM. Banana peels. Add that to your soil right now. Don't wait for a plant to get in there. Throw that son of a bitch in the ground somewhere in your yard. You want to know why? Because wherever in your yard you're going to put that stuff, those banana peels, wherever in the yard you're going to be, it's going to feed the microfungi and microalgae, the microfungi network and the mycelia network, and keep a healthy soil. And if you have 1 or 2 spots of soil in your yard that you're making healthy, the mycelia network will hook up with those. And wherever you plant a plant, once you have that mycelia network in your yard, it'll be taken care of. So don't wait to do that. Go out today and put those somewhere in your yard, 1 foot underground, and help your soil out today. And that'll make next year, you'll see mushrooms randomly appearing in your yard. That's a sign of a solid microfungi network or mycelia network in your soil. Are you taking off, JM? Get some lunchy lunch? But anyhow, anyone want to hop up? Of course, it's always pinned to the top. If you have something to say, any ideas to pass along? Oh, you just got back from eating. Cool. So, like I said, anyone want to hop up on panel and talk about their ideas, their thoughts? I went over the basically the financials at the beginning of my thoughts on mostly crypto. We did go over the Kitco precious metals prices. So yeah, that's that. I believe I gave some enlightening information on the crypto thing. You hardly ever hear me talk about it, and if, like for Kevin Weedman, who I actually call on the phone, he knows my feelings about it. But I now let you know the more in-depth thoughts of crypto. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's just there's a lot of bad things out there, more so than others. So you got to have more due diligence. And you have to sell. Don't hodl. Hodling crypto is the worst thing you can do. You can always buy it back. And take profit. Take profit. Transfer that profit into other assets. Increase your wealth. Greatest transfer of wealth in our lifetimes coming up, big boys. I would suggest everybody to help. Oh, I don't have it prepared. That sucks. This is what you can do also to help yourself out in advance. If you do that, you'll be a lot better off. When people say, oh, I don't know about that crystallized osmium, you don't have to know about it. Some things you don't have to know about. Enough people tell you and do know about it. You should at least be interested enough to get your toes wet. Throw a couple dollars at it. You can get a 2 millimeter square for around the same price as a ounce of silver. And quite frankly, that's the best value of the crystallized osmium market is the 2 millimeter round. Just by their business format and the setup and where they do their business, it's absolutely the best value for your money is the 2 millimeter square. And I will take kudos for that because I'm the first person to bring light to not only the greatness of what the 2 millimeter square of crystallized osmium can do, but I gave a great use case for it. And I also discovered that it's the best steel And Christine's Osmium Institute's like totally blown away. They're like, wow, we didn't think it would. They're like, you're going to take up all our supply of 2mm squares. Oh my God. Should have never told me about it. I run my mouth. What's up, JM? Sorry about that, brother.
That's okay. I just, this is the first time I've joined StreamYard and a pop-up saying that they use cookies.
Yes.
And they've got a cookies statement.
I had that.
So I was just kind of reading that while I was muted too.
Yeah, no, I got that too, bro. That was messed up.
Yeah, they want to use it for advertising and stuff. So did you accept all cookies or customers?
Yeah.
I see in the top right, if you read that, it says continue without accepting. I think I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on continue without accepting.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Now we have those spectrum.
Because it does say if you close this message, we won't set analytics and profile in cookies, and this won't limit your browsing experience. You can
sounds like a good deal. Sign out. Don't take it.
Have a look at that. Yeah, okay. So, good afternoon or evening to everyone in the chat. Always good to see you. The main reason I came up, beyond the fact that it sounded like you were hoping someone would join, was going back to the repo market. I didn't realize that there was that much going on at Ford, but then again, it could all be various stages of repossession. I guess some of the vehicles they may just be given back willingly.
Well, not only that, for paperwork, they have like 3 months before they have to do reports.
Right.
And then after that, they got to account for the loss, so they can put off a lot of repos several months. And that also helps if you don't have enough people. And that's probably what they're going to do.
Does my microphone sound too high?
No, but I self-talk.
It is too high. It's because I've got it on stereo. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
There, that should be better now. Yeah, see, the Rand is saying is echoing.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing too,
folks. Right. So yeah, I guess there's different ways you could enter the repo market. But did you ever watch? I forget what it was called now. There was a couple TV series, like reality shows with car repossession companies.
Yeah.
Did you ever see any of them?
Actually, I dropped out of high school around this year after a friend of mine called Tiger dropped out of high school, and he was called Tiger for many reasons. One of them, his face was burned up pretty bad from an accident he was in, but his mom was a bounty hunter. And back then in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, being a woman bounty hunter, you were a tough son of a gun. And he took over her business, and part of his business that he added to it was picking up repos. So I do know a lot about. I know a lot about the market because a friend of mine's been in it for 40 years.
Okay. Yeah, I watched. I used to like Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, that was a good show.
And then there was. Let me just see if I can look it up. Repo TV show.
Yeah, they had one of those. They did a lot of things.
Operation Repo was the one that I watched the most. So, but in any case, like in a lot of those situations, you're going and repossessing a vehicle from people that are in really rough shape. Like every once in a while, it's a high-end vehicle, like a BMW or a Mercedes. But a lot of the time, I think it's just like daily drivers. They're repossessing a Toyota or a Nissan or
an electric vehicle that cost $80,000 or $100,000 truck financed for 9 years.
Maybe
that's more what it is. As soon as I started hearing about those 7-year truck loans a couple of years ago, I knew the repo market was going to be big.
So the one thing that I think is really missing, like as much as those shows were very entertaining, and there's another one where the guy was repossessing aircraft, planes,
Yeah, I saw that one too.
private jets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the repo guys they're there to do a job.
Yep.
I'm just thinking that they could actually make more money doing what they already do and continuing to do that, but then referring the people, like, when they start begging and crying, like the whole world's caving in on me, actually, like, referring them to, say, counseling, or what do you call it, like a bankruptcy, not trustee, but the people that help reorganize, or loan consolidation, to give them some options and some hope for the future.
My view instantly, having you said that, if I put myself in a situation where I was repoing stuff from people, because I know, Tiger's told me many stories. Most of the time, the people that aren't there, that's the best case scenario. The times that you do have confrontations with the people being there, they are in absolute no listening mood. They are already aggressive and combative. And that is the absolute worst time to try and talk sense to someone. Leaving a card, if they don't destroy it, would be about the best thing you could do under a scenario like that. Because most people who see their car being towed and run out and confront the person, instantly, they're in confrontation anger. Psyche. Is that the best time to talk sense to somebody?
No. And so for the television show, for sure, that's going to be the ones that they want. That'll be the situations they want to publish, because it's high drama, and
it's good TV.
It'll glue the eyeballs to the screen. But like, even in the cases where, say the person actually sets a time and they've got the keys and they're like, yeah, you can come pick it up here.
That's good TV.
That's not so good for TV. But that would be a good time to say, okay, right on, here's this and that. Before I talk to them, flash it. Yeah, there you go, Gerald. Yeah, you want to make sure that you got your security with you. But yeah, so, and that's just it. For the people that are a little more balanced and a little more calm, and they realize they screwed up, I still think that you could do a referral service and make a bit of money on that too. If you're doing, say, 3 to 5 repos a day, and
it is possible.
You hand out 3 to 5 cards, and even one of them connects.
I saw this one repo. They actually repoed a deck. They built this deck in front of a mobile home. I guess the guy didn't finish paying for it, and while he was at work, this guy came in with a trailer, cut all the attachment points down, jacked it up, scooted it over, put it on his trailer, and drove off with it.
That's a first. I've never heard.
That's why I watched it, because I'd never seen. I was like, no way. No way. How the hell is he going to do this? And I was like, wow, okay.
I've seen a couple of videos, these guys that redo your driveway, or they put in that concrete driveway, and then get non-payment from the customer. I've seen them go back and just rip this, like, they can't repossess it, but they destroy it.
You break it up, make it non-usable. That's very petty. And it doesn't look good in court if at any point in time that person, what the legal thing to do in this case like that, and this shows there's not a lot of level-headed people out there, is you put a lien on the house.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
Don't destroy it, because that way when they sell the house, they won't be able to sell it till they give you the money, and you can charge interest until they give you the money. So if you destroy it, you'll never get any money, and you're hurting them. If you follow the law and do it the right way, you take a financial hit, undoubtedly, but you can write it off on taxes. And that's where the business end comes in, and creative finance, all this other crap comes in to help save your business from people doing that, and try and make better choices of your customers. And then you start doing other techniques to vet people so you don't get yourself in that scenario too many times.
Yeah. Going back and destroying it doesn't help
Anybody. No, it actually hurts the person who put it in, because then you're out the money and you're never going to get it. If you take and do the legal thing and put a lien on the property, at least, and if they ever go to refinance, even they don't even have to sell it. They just have to refinance. The odds of them refinances are pretty good. So if they go to refinance, they have to pay you off and they have to pay you interest. So you will get paid more than you lose eventually if you just take it to court and do it the legal way. Even if they die inheritance, they're still going to have to, you'll get paid before the house gets inherited. You're guaranteed payment. So, you know, you're going to get your money with interest doing it the legal way. So we're doing it, you know, like tearing it up. Well, you paid for all the material, you paid all the labor, and you're never going to see return ever. And you probably have a bad rating from other people who said, wow, that was kind of a shitty thing to do, because now he's never going to get his money. He just showed he was, not a good businessman, basically, or you can, that's an asshole move or something else like that.
Well, and technically, going back and destroying your own work, beyond being immature, and I think just shows, it's someone
it's just bad
that can't control.
It's bad character.
The homeowner could actually turn around and
sue you,
charge them. That's right, with vandalism.
Yeah, not only vandalism, they could charge for the expense of having it removed, and you get trespassing, then you have to go to court. That's just it's not a mature way to handle a business scenario, unless it's for TV. It makes great TV, I guess.
That's it.
And that right there actually is an underscore of our society being needing to change. That should not be entertainment.
No,
we should not find entertainment. No one should find entertainment in that stuff enough so to where they can make a TV series and make money off of it.
Yeah.
That's actually a negative reinforced behavior to reinforce others' negative. It's like negativity. It's pushing negativity. It's not pushing positivity. And we need to get away from pushing negativity.
Yeah. And the fact that there's significant demand for that sort of thing actually says to me that a lot of it could even just be staged just to get
most definitely. After a certain period of time, you only have so many natural good shows or series or episodes that you can do that are naturally good. Yep. And then you start looking at business. Okay, well, we need our numbers up. Okay, now the director says, hey, well, why don't we stage this? And now you just got a fictitious thing that's being, it's horrible, man. But it happens in a lot of shows, dude. I know, here's a couple for examples. Shane Adams had, what was it called? Full Metal Jousting on Discovery Channel. Okay. He set all that up. He owned the show. He's a friend of mine. I know him. I know what he did. As a matter of fact, hold on a second here. Settings, virtual background. Do I still have it? Oh no, I didn't. Damn it. Don't tell me I deleted it. No, there it is. That guy there on the left, on the right, on the red and white horse. That's Shane Adams.
The guy in the middle with the blue shirt on kind of looks familiar.
Yeah, that's a guy named Niels on Dynasty. But the guy with the red feathers and the white feathers, that's Shane Adams. He had Full Metal Jousting. It was on Discovery Channel for 3 years. And the first year was authentic. After that, they wanted to get bigger numbers. So they started having to, what's the right word? Make up scenarios and then follow through with those made up scenarios to make it more interesting the second and third year. And that's why it was canceled, because they went down that road too soon. That's why most of your TV series last for 5 years, and the fifth year is kind of stupid because they ran out of storyline, and they take that over to that concept over to live TV shows or reality TV shows, and they manipulate things to get the same format so they can get the same reaction, to get the same or better numbers. I also know the guy who was on the Discovery show. Was it Weed America? Michael. He lives like 16 blocks down the road from me. I actually used to get my weed clippings from him because he was interested in bees too, and I was doing my experiments in bees back then, and I needed a whole bunch of trimmings because that's what I smoked my bees with. And I didn't have enough for my pot plants because I had a lot of bees and I smoked them every time I went out there. and he was running a shop, so he had a lot of indoor. He had like big bags full of clippings. So he'd give me a couple of bags, and that's what I used to smoke my bees. And he also staged after the second year. He staged a lot of stuff on. It was like I think it was called Weed America or something like that. I don't even recall. It was like 10 or 12 years ago.
Do you think Kevin the Weed Man is still here?
We can ask Kevin the Weed Man. Are you still here? Hold on a second. I can do you one better. What are you needing for?
Well, I just I've seen him in chats over the last couple of years.
Uh-huh.
And so I went to his channel earlier in
Oh
his
yeah.
live stream, and I noticed he's big into butterflies.
Yes. Actually, he's big into the monarch butterfly. Do you
Yeah.
need to talk to him about it? I can get him on.
No, I just thought it was really cool, and I thought it was there must be some relation to that. Like I know certain animals are gonna be attracted to good environments, right? Less chemicals, more
Yeah.
nature.
Actually, the milkweed that he grows is specifically attracts the monarch and a couple other species of butterfly. And he's probably not getting a lot of monarchs this year because they do a 3-year migration across from Mexico up to Canada. So it's like every third year you'll have a big influx with them, and that's the time that you should try and increase their numbers by having milkweed everywhere.
Okay.
But that's why if you watch his shows, he does. Last year this time he had probably 100 baby caterpillars eating the milkweed. This year he's only got like 1 or 2, and that's because the migration already passed his area, and it'll be this is second year, so it'll be another year or 2 before he gets a lot of them. But if he has more milkweed and other people have more milkweed along their migration pattern, they'll reproduce more, and the numbers will actually grow. So that's why I actually did a show about that. Dedicating it to Kevin about a year and a half or a year ago, because I saw this lady in Philadelphia or something like that was also doing it. So I dedicated a show to Kevin and caterpillars of the monarch flying milkweed and people getting into it. And I've been kind of pushing his show ever since then because I think it's a good thing.
It is. And, I have not seen any of Kevin's videos. In fact, I guess it was the first time I've been over to his channel. So I subscribed and I just took a quick look at the videos.
Yeah.
And I see it like really focused on that.
Yeah, he is the monarch butterfly guy. And actually, following with Ninja, the Economic Ninja, he has actually created a business out of his passion for the love of the monarch butterfly. And now he actually seeds and grows milkweed and sells them. And he's making pretty good money. And that's a side hustle.
And do you think the selling of the milkweed is to help other people to help with the butterflies? Or is it just...
it will. Every milkweed plant he sells will definitely help the monarch butterfly when they come through in the migration. So much so that it could, if enough people have the food source for the monarchs, because when they come out of Mexico, it used to be decades ago, there'd be like tens of millions of these things. There was like a lot of them because their food source was plentiful along the way. The less plentiful their food source is along their way of a migration pattern from Mexico through to Canada, and it takes 3 years for them to do this because they don't fly fast.
Yeah.
So along the way, if they don't have food source, lots of them die off. So the more food source they have on the way, and throughout the decades, we've been killing off their food source for monoculture crops. Now they can fly over 100,000 acres and not have anything to freaking eat. It takes them 3 days to probably drive to fly that far and not be able to eat because there's a monoculture crop there. So if individuals have milkweeds out there, the numbers will increase for the monarch butterfly substantially. And I encourage everyone to buy and plant milkweed. And part of my garden attracts butterflies specifically for that reason as well. No, I did not, ATM. I never made sunflower honey. And I never jousted. I was a squire. Although I did put that armor on. And let me tell you what, Shane Adam weighs 325 pounds without the armor. The armor weighs about 150 pounds because it's real armor. Because they, as you can see, the bend in that lance, they actually hit each other at about a 15. it hurts. So they need thick armor, and it's real heavy. I actually put that armor on one time. So we went to a SCA event. It was a Society for Creative Anachronisms where they do historical recreation events. And that year it was a 9-year festival on a 1,700-acre farm, and they were doing the recreation of the Battle of Hastings. And then I was out in the fight pit, and I talked to Shane. I was like, Shane, let me wear your freaking armor. I'm going to go to the fight pit. Because the rules to the fight pit was if you didn't feel the hit, it didn't count. I was like, fuck, I ain't going to feel nothing if I put this armor on. And I didn't. So I was fixing to win the tournament, man, because I didn't feel none of the hits because that was some thick-ass armor, right? Till this one guy kicked me in the chest, and I fell on the ground, and the armor weighed 10 pounds more than I did. So at that time, I couldn't get up, so he just kind of pushed up underneath the hard hat or the helmet and hit me in the throat, and of course, I lost. But then 2 people had to help get me up. It was kind of funny. I was hollering, help, I'm falling, and I can't get up. Like that commercial. And I had the crowd rolling even though I lost. But as usual, I have a good time no matter what happens. I made the most of it. But it was a fun thing anyhow. Shane was watching me too. This was really funny. It was funny.
That's right on.
Yeah, I had him at my rinse. As a matter of fact, the year that hold on. That actually picture, no, that was from the Gulf Coast Rinse. That the same year, but that's not the Mobile Zoo Ren Fair. That's the Gulf Coast Ren Fair, but it was 2001 picture.
I think Zardoz may be taking off. Have a good night, Zardoz.
Indeed, Zardoz. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. And I appreciate everyone coming in. I'm glad I got a little cryptocurrency talk going because I hardly ever talk about cryptocurrency because until possible recent events, I've had no interest. Not that I don't have knowledge, I just have no interest in talking about it. But like I said, things change.
Yeah, I find the cryptos interesting, but I would not consider myself to be all that knowledgeable. I've looked into maybe 10 or 15 of them and never got any.
Yeah. I don't know. Kind of sort of did this as a precursor to a possible coin that'll be coming out that I believe Gerald Draper might be coming up with. That'll be backed by. Am I speaking too soon on this, Gerald? Tell me to shut up in chat if I am.
Well, in worst case, you can just say stay tuned for more.
Yeah, there's a possibility that I'll actually be talking about a certain cryptocurrency because, and I hope I've demonstrated throughout the years of my show that I only say things that I do and believe in, and I'm a solid dude that way. So if this coin comes out, I will probably be promoting it because it will actually make it through my litmus test of cryptocurrency coins. Okay, so I can talk about it. Basically, it's a cryptocurrency, crypto coin that's going to be backed by physical osmium, crystallized osmium.
Yeah. The actual pieces.
Yep. Something like that. I don't understand the actual whole concept of the nitty gritty of it. I mean, my intelligence doesn't run that much into cryptocurrency, but I understand the premise. Yep. And it is a cryptocurrency. Like I said, it passes my litmus test. It actually is backed. It'll be backed by something all the way down the line from the owners of the Crystallized Osmium Institute to the creators of the coin, all on the same page. So it's not a Ponzi in any way, shape, or form.
It actually seems to me like it's fairly simple. You don't need to be
pretty much
to figure it out.
It seems like it's going to be a good investment, and when it comes out, I will be pushing it because, I seem to be on the information of it happening side of it, but I'm not on the creation side of it. So having the information I have, it seems like I said, all the way back to the Crystallized Osmium Institute owner, down through, it seems like it's a worthwhile, solid, viable project that has utility, and that is better than most crypto coins, better than 90%, 99, 98% of the crypto coins out there. So I will be pushing that, and I just wanted to start early, get everyone hyped up for it.
Have you spoken with Ian in the last, since your last live stream with him?
No, not since the last live stream.
Okay. The reason I ask is I did send him a couple emails with the links to those two sort of commercial videos.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't heard back from that. I do know that. Hold on. Let's see here. Sorry about that. You talking about that?
Yeah, don't be sorry. So yeah, that was the first one, and then the second one's more like the idea with that one was to keep it under a minute, right?
I actually, the first one's great, but the reason why I got the fabric I got is, and I did the lighting, and I wanted to redo it because if you brushed your hand over the fabric, it looked like a different color red, and it actually changed to 2 shades of red because of the way the fabric was if you kind of raked it one way. But I didn't get that far into this heavy wind, all this other crap's going on, so I was lucky to get what I got. But I wanted to show beyond the picture that was there in that video of only that one red, I wanted to have that 2 shades of red showing to demonstrate what the crystallized osmium would look like in, like if you had a necklace or a female with a necklace and different color dresses. So when you had that other video with the different colors on it, that was like spot on. That was my intent, was to try and get a video out there.
So now you still have that one though, right? The second one?
I do in emails. I was unable to transfer it over
because I think you can transfer it over, and I think you can probably put it up in StreamYard too.
Well, isn't it too long? I thought that's the problem I was having to get it to save under the brand was it was limited to like a minute or something like that. Or at least it used to be, or something.
Maybe it may have been that the file size was too big.
Yeah, or something like that, to where I couldn't, because I was able to get that one video, but I couldn't do that second video for some reason. Because I remember I tried, and there was some issue. You might have taken care of it since then, but I just never got that part that would make it viable on this end. I never followed through with that part if you did find out.
And unfortunately, I deleted the original files of these videos. I think I still have the file of the photography that you did, that you emailed to me.
Yes, Tom. JM's second video showed the multicolor behind osmium.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be taking off, brothers. It's going to be taking off. We're all going to be in early. Anytime you're in early, you're making money. So you can see the 2 shades of red there, a darker and a lighter shade, and then you do this, and that's awesome.
Osmium is a platinum group, precious metal. It is significantly more rare than diamonds or gold. While it is toxic in its natural state, it is completely harmless in this crystalline form. The crystal structures are unique on every piece, which is the key to a very impressive security feature. It is very strong, hard, and reflective, similar to, or greater than diamonds.
Yeah, you can
The
show
price
your old lady
performance of osmium has been
whatever
strong
color
and
dress.
steady, making it a suitable store of value. We see it becoming popular with stackers, and those who like knockout bling on their jewelry.
And you notice how the osmium stands out on each color change. It's like it's the osmium.
Due to osmium's high value density,
Oh, yeah.
it is relatively easy to store and easy to move or transport. It will never tone or tarnish. Think generational wealth.
And that's a Sparkle 3. I need to get those nose rings going, man. You know, there's going to be about 1 million motherfuckers out there buying them nose rings, and if I get $100 profit off each one, that's 1 million times 100. What's that? 100 million?
1 million times 100 is 100 million. Yep.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, just going through the math, there's not enough 2mm squares, so it's the first come, first serve as far as sales go, because they're going to sell out, and they haven't even made yet. And I'm telling you what's going to happen to them just by the numbers, just by the math. Nothing more than math. I'll tell you what's going to happen. This time next year, there's going to be probably a quarter of the supply, if that, left of 2mm squares at the current price structure. They're going to have to double the price structure only of the 2mm squares. Because again, I say 2mm squares is the best buy out there, because they started out they were in business in Germany for 8 years, selling to Europe high-end pieces, and they had scrap cutoffs, all 2mm squares. And they had a lot of them. They were saving them up to remelt them, but they figured they'd try something else. Then came Neil. Now they don't have no 2mm squares, and they have to cut them. But they already priced them because they were scrap. When they have to produce the crystallized osmium and cut the 2mm squares, they actually are selling it for less than their cost. And that's the only piece that they sell for less than cost of production and cutting. Because production and cutting should put it at about $45, not 30 to 35 or 25 to 30. It should be at 45, 50. But they didn't, again, they didn't look in advance. They didn't look at the thing and say, okay, what could happen? And write down a list of what could happen. Like I was telling everyone when it comes to prepping, you take a scenario and you follow it through to the end as far as you can think of in advance to see what the issues are. Had they done that with the 2mm squares, they would have never put them on sale just to get rid of them. Because that was a bad move. Because then Neil came along and said, oh, look at them ones. And look what I can do with them. The next thing you know, you're going to be sold out. And then they're going to be losing money by creating 2mm squares unless they increase the price significantly. So if you want to get into crystallized osmium, get yourself 10 2mm squares, about $300, same as for 10 ounces of silver. But you're guaranteed a 15% return year over year. You're not guaranteed that on silver. So in 10 years, it'll be a minimum of 150%. If you look at silver in the past, it's never 150%.
I still think the 4mm is going to be just as good a deal if you can buy.
4mm perfect for earrings. 2mm perfect only for nose rings, not really for earrings, in my opinion. Only, and like I said, if I sell 8 million of them, they're sold out.
Yeah.
So you know,
yeah, Gerald's got some good ideas, and I'm thinking like cufflinks too.
There's all kinds of things that need to be done, and that's again, however this coin is structured, Gerald. You should call me. We need to talk and remind me what we're talking about right now, so I know my thought process, because I got some great ideas.
Well, that's right on. So you answered my questions there, which were the main reasons I jumped up here.
What questions were those? I was just talking.
I wanted to know if you'd heard from Ian.
Oh, okay.
And then I also wanted to talk about the repo thing too, which I thought was kind of cool. I think there's extra money to be made there.
Oh, big time. Big time. Yeah. Even just if you don't want to do the repos, if you can get like the computer tracking stuff, if you're good with that, and you can track these cars with the newer cars that have the GPS and shit so people can't hide them, because you could find yourself a niche to where you could just tell the repo guys, they can call you, give you a list of cars they want to get. They're out in the road. They don't want to work computer shit. And you could like say, okay, well, this car is pinging at this address, this car is pinging at this address, this car is pinging at this address, and you get like 5% of the repo just for doing that for them. There'll be a market for that type of business. Now, yes, right now repo people do have people to do that, but with 1.7 million repos of just Ford cars, I guarantee you new companies are going to open up, and they're the ones not going to have that service right off the bat. They're just going to be able to do the repos and want to get into business. And they're going to need people to do the technical part of that business, which is.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, that's quite all right. Basically, track the car through electronic means, because every new car has a GPS locator and all this other stuff. And if you could instantly just tell the people where the cars are, and send them that information through a GPS on their phone, they can go pick up 1, go 2, 3, 4, get 5 in one night. If you get like $25 a car, you just made $125 just for telling someone, giving them some information. I mean, that's a way of getting. So there's several ways to get into the repo business if you don't want to actually physically put yourself out there, which I can totally understand. But there's still a lot of ways to make money out there. Don't limit yourself just because you're, 98 pounds and don't like confrontation. You can hop behind that computer and tell those big 300-pounders exactly where to go and get paid that way and have no actual threat to you physically, because you're not doing the actual repossession of it, but you are part of the process, which gets paid.
Yeah, I find it sad that it's that extreme.
It got this. You should have been sad 2-3 years ago, once they started offering, and I was like, oh my god, we're fucked.
To me, it would make sense for Ford to actually start doing more of it in-house.
Well, depending on who the loans are through, if they got their loans through Ford could easily do a paperwork move with all the cars that are got loan. They could get the loans that are done through them. They could reorganize them, give people a forbearance, as long as they don't, get in a wreck or do anything stupid, but keep insurance on it. And they could give them like a 6-month forbearance on payments or something like that. And they could write that off on their taxes as loss for those months. And they actually don't have to go through the process of repossession. They don't have to go through court costs. They don't have to bing your credit. So basically what they're doing is what they could do is they could partner up with the people that bought cars using Ford Credit Union that they control. They could partner up with those new car buyers and work deals to where the car is kept, a little forbearance, a couple months, stuff like that. So that way they don't have to report the numbers to where they take a stock market hit, because that's actually more important to them. If they lose like 5% of the stock market, man, that's like 10,000 cars being sold profit margin a day. They just lost it in a split second. So there's more to business of the car. Because Ford is so big, they actually have a credit union, a bank basically that does loans for people, and a decent size of their loan, their car loans are through their financial service. So they've kind of sort of got not a monopoly, but they have a monopoly on Ford product. But I don't know. I mean, they might now finance Chevy or Pontiac or other vehicles, but I do know they had Ford Credit Union to finance Ford cars, because the business move they made when they started out was a good business move at the time, and actually now could play to their advantage if they're not greedy or stupid. I can't say that they won't be greedy or stupid, but what they should do is if there is that many cars, 1.7, you figure at least 25% of them are financed through Ford. So that would be like, what, 400,000? So you could take and drop that number 400,000 and report only that you have 1.3 million repos.
Here's a question for you, Neil. If you've got a vehicle on a loan like that, for example, and you've got credit cards, right? If you've got room on your credit cards to make your car payment, are you going to make your car payment if you need that?
Say that again. Say that again.
If you've got room on your, like if you've got available balance on your credit cards to make your car payment, would you make that car payment?
You know, that's open question. There's so many scenarios that I'd need information on as far as the person's condition. Yeah. Are they looking at losing their job? Are they losing their house? Are they behind on other things? There's lots of things to answer. So I'll answer it like this. If the person's on top of all of their bills and they're just now coming across a scenario where they're going to have to do something like that, before they do something like that, I would go to the car company and see about turning it back in and getting a cheaper model that you wouldn't have to do that with, because that on a long-term basis would be a better way to sustain your credit rating of good, because you lowered your cost of that in particular item that you would need to use your credit card for because of whatever reason made you short that month. But now if you were like starting to get behind on everything, yeah, I would turn the car back in on good standing, not get a repo hit, and then you wouldn't have to make car payment, but you would have to, you know, buy a used car cheaper, which you probably could afford, you know, and you should have probably thought of that before you bought that new car, getting yourself into that position. But most people don't. And that's where I was going to say earlier that I was really distraught when people thought it would be okay and normal to have a 7-year car note, which I found disgusting. It's like, but like I already knew the repo market was going to happen because
it's like a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah, it's worse. It's worse.
I don't know. 30-year mortgage is pretty awful.
Yeah, but you have a house at least. You can rent out a room. You can do things. You can stack wood and make a fire log business on your product. There's things you can do with the house you can't do with a car.
It's more likely to hold its value too, I guess.
It's a hell of a lot more likely. Again, a 7-year loan, and what you did when you first, let's just say $100,000 truck. You get a 7-year loan. Instantaneously, you drive it off the lot. You just lost 20%. You're in a negative. You're working yourself out of a hole, and you got 7 years to do it. What the fuck? I'm sorry. That's just fucked up. I couldn't do that. Any sensible human being would be like, no fucking way in hell. But everybody did it. I know, fuck. I know. Of course we're going to be here. I mean, Jesus Christ. How could we not be here? It's my question. It was so blatantly obvious when they started changing these lending laws. I mean, it was a forecast of it was an indicator of things to come. A couple of years after you do shit like that, yeah, everyone's going to start losing their ass, because what happens with the economy? It's on a 7-year trend. So now if you don't buy that vehicle on the very bottom of a bad trend and can be able to afford it at the very bottom of a bad 7-year economic trend, you're going to lose your ass.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guaranteed loser. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't see it any other way. I can see why the banks did it, man. They said, how stupid are these fuckers? Yeah, 40 years, same thing. 30 year blew me away, dude. 30 years fucking home loan blew me away, man. 20 years, fine. 20 years to pay. Because what you got, people don't look at things right. See, what you got to look at is you're a slave whenever you buy anything. And you don't pay it off instantly, because you have payments you have to make to keep that thing. So let's just say that thing is a house. So when you sign up for a house, and it's now, as Tom said, 40 years, you have signed yourself up to indentured servitude for 40 years. How many 7-year economic cycles is that? Yeah, that's seven-year cycles. That's every 7 years you have bad times that you're going to be worried that you're not going to be able to save that house over a 40-year time period. You know how much that will age you and cause you cardiovascular stress? So 5 times over the life of the loan?
Almost 6. Almost.
Yeah. 5-year car loans are terrible. Man, I don't know. It's our whole way, and I've bitched about this before. It's our thought process of economics is too based on greed from the start. And that's what's fucked up. And it wasn't always that way. It used to be service and product capability and endurance was what drove the market. Now it's bullshit, lies, and numbers. And you're selling yourself indentured servitude is a basic slavery. So if you're going to complain about freaking taxes making you feel like a slave, why the hell would you sell yourself out for a 7-year car loan or a 40-year house loan? You're just doing the exact same thing you're bitching about on taxes. Do you think, knowing this now, that a person could be happy, really happy, knowing that they're a fucking slave? Economic slave, don't get me wrong, I mean, it's not racially based whatsoever. Economic slave. And that's exactly, you sign a 40-year contract, 40 freaking years, you're going to have to make $2,000 a month payments. What's that mean you have to do for 40 years? No matter what, you have to make that much, more than that much money to keep what you're wanting to buy. What are the odds of that happening? Shit, if I had the money, I'd fucking put loans out like that too. I'd win 90% of the time.
I think that's called
loan nothing and be happy. We've already bought into it.
I think that's called Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, it's also this thing called the Erich Bonhoeffer letters, the theory of stupidity. Everyone should read it and then go outside and pick your jaw up off the ground and you see the same thing happening right now that happened in 1940, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45 in Germany. If you know what happened then. It's amazing. And you'll see it. And once you see it, you won't be able to discount it. And hopefully you'll make change in your life to stop the madness that's going on around us. Yeah, and that's all driven off of this. Let me put it like this. Stupidity is more dangerous than greed. And stupidity has nothing to do with intellect, IQ. It doesn't have nothing to do with how much college. It's a psychological event that occurs over time. Even the smartest people can be stupid. And that was proven in the early 1940s. And that's where Erich Bonhoeffer wrote the letters. He actually was a theologian scholar. He had a lot of time on his hands. He was thrown in jail because he was a Jew. And he took about a year trying to analyze and figure out how society got to the point that it got to. And he wrote it all down, and it was an accepted theory of stupidity by the academia and scientific communities. And now it's taught in schools as a principle of the theory of stupidity. But no one knows about it. As if you did, you wouldn't be stupid. Or you would at least see the brown shirts, or the brown coats, I think they were called. And if you don't know the history, the brown coats was the precursor to the Nazi Party. And everyone got involved with it because it was the thing to do at the time. If you want to know how a society becomes so stupid that they can genocide a whole other society and no one give a shit, read the Bonhoeffer letters, The Theory of Stupidity. It lays it right out. And then go outside and stop it from being played out in front of our eyes again. But that's just a suggestion. I guess that's up to more powerful people to change than just the average Joe, because that's a big battle to fight.
Yeah, that's massive power play moves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a big battle to fight.
Psychological warfare.
Oh my God, on fucking a worldwide scale. Yep. In the 40s, it was on a continent scale.
Worldwide, generational.
Yeah.
Right? It's been going on for generations.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how many generations would you say it's been going on by the same people?
It started 3 generations ago. Seriously started. The plan was put in play probably 110 years ago or thereabouts.
Okay. It's 2 or 3 generations.
Yeah.
Definitely 1 full generation.
Oh, 2. Definitely 2. People born in the baby boomers. That was the biggest economic deception long term. That's hard to get over.
How much longer you stay in life? Yeah.
How long do you guys want to stay here? It's early. I went early today, so fuck man, it's not even 5 o'clock here. I figured I'd get some people from the East Coast.
Hey man, it's not even Sunday.
Yeah, I know. That's why I did it. I was like, this is
a couple days early.
I just wanted to see what would happen. I wanted to talk about. I had some shit to say about the crypto, and I wanted to get it on, on my show that's recorded, so that way people go back and say, "Hey Neil, 2 years ago you said this. You're a dumb fuck," and I'll be like, "Well, hold on now. Let's go check this out. I don't like being called dumb fuck, especially if it's going to be recorded." So it took me a while to talk about the crypto to figure out how I was going to go approach it, how I felt about it, why I felt the way I felt about it, because there's so much dynamics to it. And there's so much scam to it, but it is a good thing, and that's the bad thing. it's almost like the creators of it knew it was a good thing, but didn't want everyone to grasp it, so they allowed a lot of bad in with it. Is what it seems like from an outside looking in perspective of it after being inside looking out, and I've just been trying to figure it all out. Yeah, basically, it's a new thing. Again, you can't go off. It's just like crystallized lightning. I can't fucking do any research on it because it's only so old. How old is it? It hasn't started yet. Crypto's been around for 13, 15 years. No older than that. So it's not a concept that's been around, that's studied in schools, that you were taught about, like other things you were taught about in schools, which also are now turning out to be wrong since we're talking about schools. I quite frankly recalled and gave credit to Miss McQuarrie. She was my sixth grade. Yeah, because I was in public school in 6th grade. She was my 6th grade biology teacher. And she drummed in photosynthesis to me. How the production of photosynthesis happens through leaves and light and water. And so I did 2 videos on the new discovery at the bottom of the ocean of how rocks create oxygen and how the theory of photosynthesis just went out the window. A whole science that my generation was sold on in our public schools because the information we had on the time. This is what I don't like about science. People think it's a finite, guaranteed, permanent thing. It is not. Science changes with knowledge. And with the change in knowledge comes great technological advantage. So now we know that our Earth creates batteries at 6,000 meters under the ocean. It has for as long as the planet's been underwater, that part of the planet's been underwater, through natural means. We've got several 100 million little batteries created through a natural physical processes at the bottom of the ocean that we have not explored, that a whole ecosystem has been created and evolved from for however long that's been down there. And the mining companies, which I did do a video on about a year ago, saying, and I was against it at that time for this exact reason. And thank God they discovered this, because it stops ocean mining in its tracks. And I'm glad about that, because it's cobalt, zinc, and one other mineral congeal together, similar to how asteroids do in space. The heavier elements, they all congeal together under the pressure, the salinity. They create a positive electric charge, which is enough under the right conditions to break apart the oxygen from hydrogen. So basically, this rock is creating not only oxygen, but it's also creating hydrogen. A rock, natural occurring rock. The Earth created millions and millions and millions of batteries to create oxygen and hydrogen 2 miles under the ocean. And we just found out about it. I think that should be a big push for as much as we're pushing to go back to the moon and to Mars, I think we ought to push to go down to the bottom of the ocean and see what the hell's really going on. Because with that new knowledge, that change in the dynamics of science as we know it, as to the creation of oxygen on this planet, this also changes. Here's the real kicker, guys. This is why I did it. It changes the whole global warming climate change bullshit. Because they made that model off of the creation of oxygen and eating of carbon dioxide from plants. But now we know there's more to the story. So that whole model has now been proven wrong. And we have done no new science based off of the new knowledge we've gained as to what is changing the atmosphere. So expect a lot of smart people to start making those plays.
Well, mainstream media is not going to like that.
Oh, hell no. But we're doing a dynamic shift on this planet of the 187 nations on this planet. 57 of them are changing and going to the opposite direction of the theories of the governments that they had and that America has right now. So 56 nations plus America are fixing to change from going to the left to going to the right. So that's about 1/3 of the world. So a lot of things are going to change. And that gives support to people who and support to new technologies and innovations. So actually it's a good day for entrepreneurship, for technology. And oh, by the way, I did oh wow, this is so beautiful. You guys need to watch my shows. I did a video on America doing the largest land grab this millennium and last century, and it was underwater land grab where we took possession legally of the North American continental shelf as it extends under the Pacific Ocean all the way up until the crack in the shelf. Everything from the crack in the shelf towards the America, it was claimed by America. And when I say the America, I meant North American continent. America claimed all of it, not Canada, not Mexico. We took their part too. And and according to another video I just did recently about those rocks, that all of those naturally occurring elements and i.e. new science and technology development that will come from it, about 80% of the supply of this new stuff is owned by America. And I've also done a video on what keeps countries world powers. Yes, it's the military, but what keeps them economic world powers is creativity and technological advancements and new science. Did that rock just not do all of those things? And is it not owned by majority? Like South Africa has 80% of the platinum. Well, now America has this new rock that creates oxygen, and we own 80% of it, the world's supply. And we don't even know what it does yet, or what technological advances or sciences will come from it. But what we have already learned is photosynthesis does not work the way our core science said it did from this new discovery. That in and of itself will keep America a world power without our nuclear power, our 11 nuclear powered fleets. So fear not, America will be the great, no matter what our bill looks like. We just need to stand up as Americans and guarantee for our own economic safety that the next bill they create or economic system is a beneficial one to us. Those ones throughout time and history have been proven to be backed by real things, not someone else's oil. Because as I've also reported in some of my videos, a country's currency is its sovereignty. No country wants to give up their currency or their power, the political power they have, their national power they have. They don't want to give that up, especially African countries with all the slavery talk. Because what you're doing is you're telling them is, hey, let's do a CBDC. Oh, what's that mean? Oh, you're going to be economic slaves. Oh, fuck you. And they've already said that. I did a video on it where 3 presidents of Africa said they broke away from ECOWAS, which I think it was 14 countries in Western Africa were had their own economic system, kind of sort of like Euro, but it was called ECOWAS. And it was a French-backed monetary system that they were all involved in. And now like 7 of those countries have already pulled out, and all 7 of those countries said, we don't like being a slave, economic slave to France. Our country's currency is our sovereignty. They've already publicly stated that. So I guarantee you those 7 countries will have nothing to do with the worldwide CDBC. And once people see how free they are, CDBC will go to the wayside anyhow. So in the long run, there will be no CDBC. Hold on, wait, unless there's something like a BRICS created where people want to get away from America and hurt America. And if we go to, say, like a commodity-based monetary system, they could go to a digitally based monetary system to compete with us, in which case long-term they will actually lose, because under the theory of economics, when you're presented with two currencies, the worst one stays. And if the commodity-backed system is the smallest one, that would be considered the worst one, even though it's the best one, which means America will win, and 100 and some odd countries that want to join BRICS will lose because they'll have the CBC. So in the long run, the commodities-backed dollar actually plays out the best case scenario and the most logical scenario. And to get there, long road, but it'll get there.
But when the currency is backed by gold or commodities for that matter, then you don't have this crazy inflation. You don't get crazy economic growth either necessarily.
Well, but if you add new technologies and science and inventions and products, all of a sudden everyone wants to buy your shit. So what's that do for your economy on top of everything else we already talked about? What
But
does
that's
that
at least,
you know,
that's
it
at
makes
least
everyone
real.
want to buy your shit. That makes you an economic powerhouse.
Yeah.
All you got to do is guarantee that you have a solid money system. It's not a fake one. And that's our responsibility right now in history, is to make sure that however long it takes, you know, the one thing the Fed is expert at is kicking cans down the road. So they could kick this economic shit down the road for years. We just got to hang in there enough to guarantee that we have a solid, good economic based monetary system when their bullshit games are over with. Because if that happens, we will be the greatest country on the planet for the next couple hundred years, just through our scientific advancements that we're making in the core of science. Every child around the world was taught that photosynthesis is caused by leaves, water, and light. That has fundamentally changed. The world is fixing to fundamentally change. When you have fundamental science changes that have been fact, and they all of a sudden get changed, we don't even know the amount of change that'll happen from such a monumental scientific discovery. I mean, it changes everything I knew from sixth grade taught in science to be a lie.
So what is photosynthesis if it's not light, oxygen, and water?
Well, it's now cobalt, magnesium, and one other element. High pressure, no light, salt water, cold temperature creates natural batteries. Oxygen and hydrogen are produced. I believe that's how it works. We really haven't done any science on it yet. That is yet to be determined. I did do a video on what little we know on it, though, because it highly interests me, and it's there's going to be a lot of technologies taken from this.
Yeah,
You know,
John doesn't want to have to change his grow tents there. He's got the photosynthesis working well right now.
I'm just saying, man, it is more of a science. It is as big of a scientific. No, it is more. Hold on, let me use the right words here. More of a consequential scientific discovery than discovering the universe is older than they thought, because of the new technology of the James Webb Telescope being able to get us new information to analyze to come up with better results, and that changes the information. So it's bigger than James Webb Telescope, in my opinion, and it's more consequential, and it will actually have financial impact on most humans on this planet, to where the James Webb Telescope and the $10 billion we spent on that will have very little consequential change to the economics of people on this planet, to where the discovery of that rock on American soil underneath the water will have financial consequences beneficial to pretty much everyone on this planet. Because first off, if they're quick enough with the science, they can prove the climate model's all wrong, and we can stop with this green energy bullshit. And that'll change a lot of things right off the bat. And then we can get on to more science.
Yeah, the amount of energy and money that's been thrown at that is
Yeah, I know. It's sick, isn't it?
it's
Totally.
outrageous.
Yeah, that's the amount of control they have over us. That's why we all need to make sure to hang in there to guarantee that with the best of our ability that the next monetary system America adopts is a commodities-backed real system that stops the corruption, stops the bullshit, stops everything that we've lived the past 53 years with a fake dollar, an IOU dollar, whatever you want to call it. Well, this is a good conversation, man. I'm glad that we had it. Because it's a big deal, man. The creation of oxygen at the bottom of the oceans through natural earth's manufacture. Go ahead.
I still think that an American silver eagle, you should be able to take in a $1 banknote and exchange that for one American silver eagle. And you should be able to take in $50 worth of cash and get a $50 gold.
Okay, take that same economic principle and do a reset on the numbers. And that might be what they do. But instead, they'll probably raise the price of gold per ounce on the coin to, say, 500 for gold and
gotcha
250 for silver. So therefore, your denomination of bills that you would actually physically use to get that much, that would be a deflationary move, I think is what that would be called. But that's basically, they could do that move, but that's what would happen. You wouldn't have a 250. You'd have to take a $250 bill in to get 1 ounce of silver. Every bill under that would not get you that, and that would be everyday transactions that most people would have. Therefore, they wouldn't gain, but they wouldn't be getting screwed. You would actually be able to save and get 2 to 3%, not lose 5 or 6% by saving, as it is right now because of inflation of the fiat dollar and all that other bullshit going on that we all already know about. Good night, Gerald. Thank you. Sorry I wasn't talking so much. Give me a call and remind me what we were talking about tomorrow sometime.
I got to take off too, Neil. It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and end this stream. Seems like there's only 2 of us anyhow. It'll be me and Tom left. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream, Tom, since JM and Gerald have left. Thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate you listening to my rant about cryptocurrencies and about other stuff. Just stay strong and make sure that you make wise decisions, think things through before you do them, and see what the next move of the next move will bring, because most times it's worse than the positives of the first 1 or 2 moves. Having said that, you guys have a great night. Peace out. Be safe. God bless everyone. Be kind, helpful, grateful.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.